Hey guys, it's Mrs. Bryant. Welcome back to Flip Video. Before we begin tonight's lesson, I need you to make sure you have your ISN and you titled the next blank page, Adding and Subtracting Radicals. And I just realized that I have misspelled blank, so there we go. Press pause, and when you're ready to begin, you can press play. So remember like terms. Remember when before end of course and when we first started algebra, we started talking about combining like terms. Remember when you combine like terms, they have to have the same variable. So which terms can you combine? Remember that we underlined things that we could combine. So 3a plus 5a minus a would be 7a, and then this is by itself, so minus 2b. So this big old mess of a expression can be simplified to 7a minus 2b. It's going to be exactly the same for radicals. So let's compare the first expression with the radical expression. 2x plus 4x can be simplified to 2 plus 4x, which equals 6x. And then 2 square root of 5 plus 4 square root of 5, you can factor out the common variable, which in this case is your square root of 5, and so you would get 6 square root of 5. So what do you notice? You should notice that you can combine radicals that have the same square root. So could you combine these? This is something we should be able to look at and know that we cannot combine them because the variables are different. So if the variables are different on the first expression, could we combine these two radicals? And their answer is no, because the radicals are different. Okay? All right, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, so if we're adding and they have to have the same radicals, it's going to be the same thing with subtracting. So in a similar fashion, subtracting requires that variables or radicals must be alike. And this is just another example that shows when you can and you cannot combine radicals. So in your ISN, here is your first example. What would you do with a mess like this? Well, we know that before we can combine like terms, we have to simplify. So we're going to take the prime factorization of 20, which is 4 and 5. 5 is prime, 4 and 4 is 2 and 2 and 5. So square root of that, so I'm going to have 2 square root of 5 plus, well, now I can take the prime factorization of 245. So 245 divided by 5, because I'm going to start with a 5, is 49. 49 can be broken down to 7 and 7, and there's your primes. So this simplified radical would be 7 square root of 5 minus 3 square root of 5. So I have 2 square root of 5 plus 7 square root of 5 minus 3 square root of 5. How can we simplify it? So they have the same radicals, so I can combine. 2 plus 7 is 9 square root of 5 minus 3 would be 6 square root of 5. And of course you can check it on the calculator. You could enter this, get the decimal, and then enter all that and get the same decimal. So here's another example. What about this? How can you simplify this? Again, your steps. So let's talk about steps. In your ISN, let's talk about how to simplify. 1, find simplified radicals. Second would be combine like terms. And that's it. And it's going to be the same for addition or subtraction. Make sure you have this written in your ISN so you have the steps. And then make sure you have this example written and we're fixing to work it together. So let's work this example. I need to take the prime factorization of 252. So I have 5 square root, sorry, not yet, 252. So 252 divided by 2 is going to be 126. 126 divided by 2 is 63. 63 is 9 and 7. 9 is 3, 3, 7. And notice I bring all of my factors down. So I'm going to have 5 square root of 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 7. This factor pair can be taken out. This factor pair can be taken out. And now I simplify the radical. So I have 2 times 3 is 6 times 5 is 30 square root of 7. So there's my first one. Minus, now I got to take the prime factorization of 1008 and I'm going to divide it by 4 this time, and I get 4 and 252. 4 is 2 and 2. 252 divided by 4 is 4 and 63. 2, 2, 2, 2, 9 and 7. Notice I bring all of my primes down. So I'm going to have square root of 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 7. This can be taken out, this can be taken out, and this can be taken out. So 2 times 3 is 6 times 2 is 12. This is what is left underneath the radical. Minus 12, square root of 7. And now let's do square root of 90. I have 9 and 10. That leaves me 3 and 3, 5 and 2. And they are all primes. So I have the square root of 3 times 3 times 5 times 2. That's the only set of pairs, so I have 3 square root of 10. Now, combine like terms. 30 square root of 7 minus 12 square root of 7 is going to be 18 square root of 7 minus 3 square root of 10. And that would be your answer. Remember, you cannot combine square root of 7 and square root of 10. So take a minute. Instead of doing it on the foldable, we already wrote it in our ISN. So let's go ahead and do some examples. This is example 1, this is example 2, example 3, and example 4. Now, these are already simplified because 19 is prime. So, and because they are the same radicals, I can go ahead and combine them. 5 plus 12 is going to be 17 square root of 19. Look at example 2. Before I can do this, I need to find the prime factorization. So I have square root of 3 times 3 times 7. This pair can be taken out. So I have 3 square root of 7 minus, let's do the prime factorization of 28, 7 and 4. So I have 2 and 2 and 7. It's going to be 2 square root of 7. So our answer would be the square root of 7. Let's do example 3. This is already prime, so I know I don't need to do that, but 8 is not, so I have 4 times 2, and 4 is not prime. So I have square root of that, 2 times 2 times 2. This is a pair and can be taken out. So I have 5 square root of 2 plus 4 square root of 2. So your answer would be 9 square root of 2. Now look at example number 4. You should have it written. This is prime, so I don't need to simplify it. This is prime, so I don't need to simplify it. And this is prime, so I don't need to simplify it. But I know I can combine these terms, so I have 9 square root of 5 minus 3 square root of 7. So, adding and subtracting radicals is easy peasy. Your job right now is to go follow the link in the description section. Send me your name and type out the 3 steps that it takes to add and subtract radicals. Once you have typed it in, make sure you send it to me, and I will know that you have watched the video. Have a great evening, and I'll see you in class tomorrow.